Hello everybody, this is my next video. I want to show you my progress in the Godot engine after switching from Visual Studio 2017. Let's turn some files on. So I found this game engine about a year ago. I started working on it, I think February, March 2020. I started reading, watching a lot of videos, reading a lot of information about this engine. I decided to learn the language which the engine provides. It's GD script, object-oriented language, very similar to Python. You can read about it, watch the video by yourself. This mine video is not going to be about the engine itself, it's about my progress in the game developing. I'm going to show you some milestones. I'm not going to show you everything what I did. Basically, when I had some huge milestone, I make a backup of my whole project and I put some name: project 11 project, project 12, Astar project, or whatever the focus in development was for that project. I started small, learning the Godot itself. Let's start with this file. This is basic placement of the tiles on the map. At first I went with 2D view from top. It's not much. I was playing with the camera object. They're supposed to be random. It's on the one kind of the tile. Let's turn the next one on. I was doing a lot of tests for just to learn, just to teach myself how to use basically engine. A lot of sites projects, not focusing on the main one, but just to learn myself how to use those features of the Godot engine itself. So it's going to be a lot of different small projects. Oh yes, this one I can show it to you. This is about arrays. My whole word about tile word is held in the array, 2D array. I'm using 2D arrays for a lot of things in the game. This was basically how to create them, how to hold information in them. So it was a lot of the small side projects, like I said, but still focusing on the main game. I went through all examples what is provided in the Godot engine itself. Some information were very good, very helpful for mine idea. Basically, what is the perfect way of learning? Just making something. Whatever I read some problems, I read a lot of information, I watch a lot of videos on it, on the internet, about the Godot engine and how to solve some problems. GDI script, like I mentioned, is object-oriented language, similar to Python. I had no problem switching to it. I could use C# also in the Godot engine, but it has limited documentation, much less information I could find on the internet. So I went against it. For GD script, whatever information I needed, it was there. Philosophy of the engine is that you have those nodes right there. You placing them on the scene. This is your scene, and connecting the scripts to them, and then you can write any function, whatever you need in the particular script for that. My approach for that was a little bit different than from the Visual Studio. In Visual Studio I started building database for P objects. I call them those objects which they're moving or walking. Here I started with the map itself. Then actually map itself grows in that project that is the main game. And actually that's good thing. The map itself gathers all the information and decides what's happening in the game. P objects are separate objects. I have separate objects, I have plenty of them right now. And then they will get instanced in the main game. And the main game is deciding what to do with them, with those objects, not only with those P objects moving, but with a lot of other objects. So what I'm saying, the main game is my tile map. Also what you saw in my previous file that there is a node in the Godot engine, it's called tile set. I didn't use it because I make decision that I want to make my own tiles, how to show them on the screen, and then make decisions what to do, write my own functions, because I don't want to use the node which I'm not going to get a full control of it. In that way, whatever I have to do with the tiles, I'm making decision what to do with them. Probably I would achieve that with the tile set also, but I would have to read a lot of documentation how to do this, because it's a ready node too. It's basically this tile set node. It's made for games like that exactly, but it's displaying the tiles. It's good for performance. That's what I'm saying. Performance was not really that important for me at the beginning of the project. Maybe right now I should switch to it if I will dig deeper and learn how to control this tile set. But for my tile set, I will need, from the start, I know that I will need a whole lot of features. So I was better off starting to building them on my own. Let's see what was this project. This is project 8. Before that it was some small side projects, and slowly they grow to this one. You see already it's a lot of menus, a lot of buttons. Creating new map. Already I can set up different features, specific features for the map, and here you go, you have your map. Putting objects on it, they will start moving. So this was very similar what was happening in Visual Studio. In Visual Studio I went basically to this point. I had this drop zone and collecting zone. Let's see this drop zone right here, and collect this tile, set to work, send one to work, send another to work, send another to work. Yeah, they are going there to this tile. They are going to deliver. Probably no, not this iteration. Yeah, they are working on it. He's digging out the tile right there. And you see they are stuck. Every iteration I find out some ways how to do this. I wrote a lot of functions. Let's switch to the next one. Here we go, it's already much more on the screen. Let's run it. New map. Basically the same thing but different tiles. For feedback I created this console. It's in the game still, but you can get feedback in the Godot itself. Show it somewhere there. Yes, whatever is happening in the process, whatever you decided, you can get the feedback about. But I would like to get something in the game itself also, to get some notification for the user. So add more of those P objects. I was experimenting a lot with this thing going along. I was over here you see tile 64 by 64. I was trying to rotate this thing, zoom it, see how this is going to look. I was thinking about isometric view, but I went against it for simplicity, because when you're learning new game engine, and this is basically my first bigger project, I don't want things to be too complicated, and I know already that when I was doing this at this time, it was a few months ago, that is going to get complicated anyway. So my game is supposed to be like flat 2D, but at some point, exactly around this project 8, I was thinking how this is going to look when they are going to dig it out. So let's see. That's the drop zone. Tile 2 works and 1. Yeah, you see it's already improvement. He's going from there to there, and this tile will disappear after they will dig it out. That's not even Asta right now. It's very similar pathfinding solution what I did in the Visual Studio at first, basically going along line X and going along line Y. First, when I'm doing something, I'm trying to do simple thing. Later I'm advancing more, thinking how to advance, learning, reading, what to do next with the same with this thing to improve it. But what I was talking about, I was telling you about this whole idea. This was milestone, because I make a decision that this is going to look bad. When they will dig it out, it's going to be empty. So this is going, and I want them to dig out some next tile underneath it. How I'm going to draw the next tile, I will put it the same spot. The next tile is going to look the same as the game started. So I was slowly switching my idea from top view. So like mentioned, I don't want to consider 3D. I even don't want to consider 2.5D for various reasons, because I would have to learn this Y sorting and isometric views. Maybe it's not so complicated, but I want to keep things simple. So in this iteration, basically around this project 8, I switch from top view to side view, like you have on the platformer. I experimented with this already on this project first, when you saw at the beginning. So let's switch it and see how this looks. This side view. Let's give them a moment, we'll see how this is going to disappear. Oh, that's it, they cannot find a way, they cannot find a path to the drop zone. So I think that's still project 8, but different iteration. Those over here are nodes. This is my main node. Those right there, I put the scenes, separate scenes. I wrote them separately, and when I need them, I can instance them in the main game. So, like I mentioned, the main scene is this tile map node. It was not my intention, but actually it happened that this scene is the main game. And the other bigger project is this P class itself. Those are those objects that are moving, and already for them I wrote a lot of code in the script. Started basically with this moving randomly, because seems like this is what I want them to move randomly at the beginning. You have two whenever I'm writing new method, I'm copying this one, improving it, and putting the next number. Already I think I am on number 6, walk randomly number 6. So they will work randomly, hit something and go different direction. So for that it's 500 lines. It's much more right now in my current iteration of the project. Let's run this, and because I'm talking about different things, and I want to tell you about this when I switch to the side view. New map. Let's do this. Well, it's still the flat view, but I was experimenting with different tiles. I was drawing them. Still being on the fence how to use this. So this is from top, the trees from the top. You see how they look, the rocks, the ground itself. So this was a big decision ahead of me, if I should stay with this top view or switch to side view. Basically I wanted, like I mentioned, dig out something, and then there is next tile and they could dig it out. So my problem with this was, how am I going to draw the next tile so it looks that it's deeper. Let's add some more objects. Now they are walking there. Let's see how they are going to dig it out. I added 3, 4, 5. I might speed it up so they will walk faster. Ah, here they go, those red ones. They are delivering this. So basically with some nice, isometric views, you can make an impression that the tile is below, but this is directly from top, no isometrics here. I see I have some errors. If they are going faster, they stop. I have to stay with this. I want to show you how this looks when they are going to dig it out. So they already took 600 of it. Every tile is 1000. Just put maybe one more. Set one more. Set one more. It's going there. Probably they will dig it out, and yeah, that's it. Tile is gone. See, tile is gone. And my next tile would have to have some kind of shadow here that it's deeper. So basically it was not that easy to draw it, even how to draw it so it looks deeper. It could have effect on the neighbors. So I would have to switch to 2D, 2.5D view, isometric view to do this. Instead of that, I switched to the flat view. Let's find this file. You see, I was experimenting with the zooming, a lot of things. I learned a lot of myself about this godot engine, doing this, going from one step to another step. Let's go to the next one. So this is my progress with the godot. The main idea of this video. I don't want to show you the game. I would like to show you the project, what I was doing. Flat, yes, that's this one. Now the world is going to be from the side. I even over here I see it. I implemented some builds already, like ramps. I was experimenting with this. Every of those features is a different object, like in object-oriented language, and you instance them. You have a scene for them right there. Say build, making decision how they are going to look, what kind of features do they have. Clear empty, ramp left, right there. And this is object for ramp left, and the godot engine provided already for me very nice feature like physics engine. And this right there is the surface is the line basically, which is going to hold the object. They cannot go below. There's even one way, so they could go up, but they cannot go this way. Every one of those my objects or those builds, and even the styles, they have some physics to them, some physics layer. So this was already missing. So this is already a big improvement, because this was missing in the Visual Studio. Probably I could do this by myself, but I have to write the physics engine by myself there. And also those GUI elements were not there. You already see here that it's plenty of them. I don't have to worry about them. I'm just using them. Adding the node to your game, to your project, is easy. Those are the codes. Those objects are called nodes. You're just basically deciding what do you need. You have to read on the internet which one is good for your kind of project and use them. Alright, let me show you this. Let's run it. It's going to be side view right now. Here you go. Randomly placed tiles. Physics working, they are falling down. Random movement of P objects, which I show you what I was writing. I already started with vertical movement, doing those ladders. The idea of the game is that they will dig it out, build something, mix something, build some kind of machine or mixer, and they can, out of it, they have something new to place on the map, basically for the reason to dig it out better and faster the next tile. So that's the main idea. There's no P objects here. Let's try to put them. You see, probably they are going in one spot only over there. So this was already a huge improvement from the Visual Studio. This right there, this project 8. This is project, this project 10. Switching to the side view using physics engine. Let's try to dig out this one. The gravity is going to pull them down right here. Let's do it again. Drop zone where they're supposed to deliver, and this is what they're supposed to dig out. Yeah, they are stuck on the ladder. Let's move on from this project. Let's go to the next one. This one has much more notes. I can see it right away. I was working heavily on it. I even have some music notes. So experimenting. Let's turn this on. See how this was looking months ago. Oh yes, this is implementation of the Astar. This is another big thing. So this actually side view was easy. You just switch the view, making a new generator, making some horizon line. It wasn't that complicated to do. So I was not playing that much with this. After I switch into the side view, I notice, of course, that they need some kind of movement. Like you saw, they probably didn't have any implementation of the movement. They didn't went to the drop zone because of that. Now in this particular implementation of this whole project, let me show you this whole Astar thing. I know that without pathfinding I have no game. There's main thing to do. That's why even I didn't work that much on the tiles. I implemented little things doing here and there corrected, but this was my main project, to implement Astar. Astar is a node in the godot engine itself. You cannot find it over here in the in the nodes when you are adding this. Let's see, you are not going to find Astar node. You are going to find some pathfinding 2D which is different. It's not using Astar. To implement Astar you have to do it from the code. It's actually not that hard. So there is no graphical implementation, but the node is there, but you cannot access it graphically from the from this menu. So to use it, I read a lot of instructions, a lot of helps from the Godot itself and the online documentation, and watch a few videos how to implement it. And right away I noticed that I will have problem because my game, because I switched it what project ago from the previous iteration to the side view, that I will have the problem because I don't want them to walk everywhere. I don't want them to fly in the sky, in the air. On the previous project, on project A, the map was flat. It would be much easier to implement the Astar there. But I already switched, so I give it a try. And actually that's good that I went with it. So let me explain this to you, and I'm going to show it to you. Basically you will see what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those tiles. There are tiles here, but air. They have to be excluded from the Astar. That's not only one complication. Your Astar is going to allow your MyP objects to walk them only here, on this line where the green dots are. This little function, helper function, to show me, to analyze the Astar. This whole thing, to figure it out, took me, I think, a month. I'm not working on the project every day. Basically during the weekends and some evenings during the week. But I think maybe even it was more than a month. I didn't have to write the Astar module itself. Calculations are done in the Astar, but I have to implement it. I have to use the node correctly in my game, because when you are using the node, is right away using whole map. You have to make your adjustment for your kind of project. So this was my biggest achievement, I think, implementing this Astar. Another big problem with the Astar was that I don't want them to go upwards. There is a method when you're connecting those two Astar cells together. You are letting them using connecting this one with this one, and this one with this one. So that's the two-way connection. They could go either way. But over here I don't want two-way connection. I want them to go down, but I don't want them to go up. So Astar cannot find a path again going upwards. And actually I succeeded with this, but it took me a lot of effort and tries. Let's see how this is working on this project 10, set drop zone. And let's try to dig out this tile. They should go down there. Let's out. Something happened. I had too many cursors on the screen, I guess. I hope you will like the game. Like I mentioned, it's management, resource management and surviving, digging out, mixing elements, putting some builds on the map. Let's test this, what I was talking about, just to be sure. Clear the cursors, whatever the cursors I have somewhere. Work, set tile to work, and send 1 and 2. Yeah, it's working. They are going there. Astar calculated path correctly, but it but cannot find solution to go back. So they are on the different list right now, free list, and the physics engine is working right now. They are falling. Gravity is pulling them down. Actually, in my game I have implementation of those two things. When Astar is taking over, is every object is free to go where Astar decides, so there is no gravity. When the Astar lets go, it is not working anymore, the physics engine takes over, and that's the reason they are moving randomly so nice. They could move on those ramps and the gravity will pull them down. It's those two things connected together. To do this, I have to play a lot with those functions for the P objects itself. They get the information from the main game. The information about the path from the Astar is passed to them. They are, let me show you, they are using the path to move. Follow path. Yeah, I started follow path 1. Of course I made some improvements. Right now I think I like follow path 7 or 6, still making some improvements to this. So this is the method, and they will get the path from the Astar. What they will do to turn the gravity off, I have to basically put gravity at 0, and that's when they will get the free movement. Is not restricted to any physics engine. Now if they are done with this, they are basically going to random movement, walking randomly, iteration even 4. The physics works there, walking randomly. This is how I did this. So it was huge achievement for me to do this Astar, to use the physics in the godot engine itself, and mix those two things together. This took me like few months, what you see over here on the screen. But this is already beyond what I have done in the Visual Studio. It's already much more. And after this I started experimenting with some builds. I mean, how to build those ramps, how to put them on the screen. So after this project I was very happy, because I know that the game would exist, because the biggest problem was this movement. If I solved that, now I could focus on different things. Let me turn the next project on. Let's see what was next. Oh, still in project 11 it was still the fixing some errors in the Astar, implementing them. Let's see what was happening there. Normal world works the best because there is good performance. Cannot really see the big difference with the previous one. So I think that's it for this video. Now I know, now you know my progress from and how I switched to different engine, and it was an effort to learn this in a new language, to learn this whole game engine, but I think it's worth, because like I mentioned, in the Visual Studio I would have to do a lot by myself, a lot with those physics, a lot with the GUI elements, a lot with the Astar. I would have to implement everything by myself. At the end would be of course good for me, but the effort and time spent on that, and over here at least I understand what I'm getting in the game engine, because I tried to do this in the Visual Studio, so I understand how many things I'm getting already done. So this was working perfectly for me. When I get a grasp of this game engine, all of a sudden I was smiling. I was so happy that I have those things. this Astar and those, like I mentioned, a lot of things actually, physics engine, Astar implementation. Let me show you how you are supposed to put the nodes in the game engine itself. So you're placing, whenever you make a decision, when you need the new feature, new node, you adding the node, you are going through the list, looking what do you need. Read the documentation, what do you need. Those controls are all nodes for the GUI systems. See how many of them is there already. Don't have to write them by yourself, you just use them. Just read documentation how to use them. Nodes for the 2D game, how many is them? Is there? Pathfinding also, this is different pathfinding. Astar pathfinding is not here, you have to manually code it, some things in the script. But it's doable, like you saw. So I was very happy, my progress was good with the Godot engine. And I think in the next video I'm going to show you how my game looks right now, and how I improved a lot of things from this state of the project. Thank you for watching, hopefully you will like the game. Watch my next video about my progress in Godot. Thank you.